Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another TBR video. I cannot believe it is time to pick out our March TBR. I'm not okay. So we're gonna use this number wheel random generator to pick out the books we're gonna read in March. Normally when I do my blindly picking my TBR videos, I wrap all the books up, but A, I have no wrapping paper, and B, I couldn't be bothered doing it. I think I'm gonna pick out 9 books because I think I will only end up reading like 6 to 7 books in March. But you guys know I like to normally pick out a couple more books than I plan to read because then I can mood read from those selected few books. The way us book content girlies complicate choosing our next read is so funny to me. It's so funny, but I love doing it and I'm never gonna change. So without further ado, let's pick out the first book we're gonna read. "15. 1, 2, 3. We have Inferno by Dan Brown. I was meant to read this book in February and I didn't end up reading it because I was very busy, and you guys will find out why I was so busy. You would have either found out by now or you'll find out soon. But I didn't get the chance to read it, and I'm very happy it got picked again because my best friend and I both want to read this book. If you don't know, I love Dan Brown's books. They are so much fun. If you've ever watched the Dan Brown movies, please know that they are so bad in comparison to the books. When I watched the movie for the Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons after reading the books, I was so disappointed. I was like, this is missing so much information, it's missing so many things, so just save yourself and read the books. This book follows Robert Langdon. He is a Harvard symbologist, so his job is to decode things, decode symbols. So he goes on this adventure and he has to decipher all these hidden messages and all these codes that are buried deep within Renaissance most celebrated artworks. And his books are just so much fun. I've rambled on about Dan Brown so much, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but his books combine like a really fun fictional story with actual facts about art, artwork, history, secret rituals, things like the Illuminati and things like that. So they're so fascinating to read if you're into stuff like that. And yeah, I am very excited to read this book. I just have to go open the balcony door. It's gonna be a bit noisy, but I am sweating. So give me 1 second. Okay, time to choose our second book. I'm so happy I got this book. I've been wanting to read it for so long and I was kind of saving it for when it gets a little bit more chilly, and I'm so excited. It is Throne of the Fallen by Kerri Maniscalco. So if you don't know, this is a spin-off series from the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy by Kerri Maniscalco. I read that trilogy like maybe I'm so sweaty. I've got like upper mustache sweat. I read that trilogy maybe like 2 years ago. I really enjoyed it. And this is a spin-off from it. So this is a new series. It's like an interconnected standalone series. This one follows one of my favorite characters from the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy. And I'm so happy he got his own book. And I've heard that this is like a Bridgerton setting. I didn't even know that when I first got this book. Apparently it's got like a more Regency setting, and I'm just so excited to read this. I've heard nothing but good things about it. I really like Kerri Maniscalco's writing. And yeah, I'm just so excited to read this book. So I'm very happy. Time to pick out our third book. "26. Craving fantasy romances, and we got another one. This is Heavenly Bodies by Imani Aru. I've seen this book all over my feed now. It recently blew up, and this is a celestial fantasy romance. Apparently there are star-crossed lovers and fate and destiny. I love anything celestial, I really do. The book cover, gorgeous. Gorgeous. A prophecy promises that she will fall for a star, but it will kill them both. It just sounds so interesting and such a unique sort of fantasy romance premise. I haven't read a celestial fantasy romance before. I don't know if there's a lot of them out there, potentially, but I've just never heard of them. I could not be more excited to read this book and give you guys my rating, and hopefully I also love it as much as everyone else does. Now I sort of feel like I need a general fiction or like a literary fiction or something to kind of break this up. So let's spin. we have The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I actually started this when I got it in my January or December TBR, I think. So I'm actually on page 46. You can see my bookmark in here. And this was unfortunately a book that I soft DNF'd. I put it back on my TBR because I was like, I'm not going to DNF this book. But it read just a little too juvenile for me. Like, this is extremely YA. Extremely. And I don't mind YA, but this was almost like, I feel like people who are 10, 11, 12 are reading this, which is no hate at all. But when I read it, I was like, I just couldn't be convinced. Like, this book follows a bunch of teenagers that get hired by the FBI to figure out cold cases and like murder mysteries and stuff like that. But just the way that it was written, I don't know, I really didn't connect with the writing style. And yeah, look, I softly DNF'd it. So I didn't give up on it. I did not give up on it. Maybe I'll pick this back up in the audiobook format. Usually that helps me if I'm not really connecting and I'm not enjoying reading it. So we'll give that a go. I don't think I'm gonna give up on it because I paid for this book, so I do want to finish it. So we'll give it one more go. Time to spin. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, I'm happy with this. We got Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. This is the second book in the Part of Your World series. I believe there's 3 books and they're all interconnected standalone. So there's Part of Your World, just for this, no, Part of Your World, Yours Truly, and then Just for the Summer. I really enjoyed Part of Your World. I think I gave it a 4-star or a 3.75 star. And this is coming from someone that's not really a big fan of the contemporary romance genre. It's just not my thing. I don't normally click with it. But I've heard such good things about this book specifically. And I've just heard her books have a lot more real life issues, which makes it a lot more appealing for me to read than just kind of like fluffy rom-coms. So we've only got 29 books left on the cart. So I'll just update the number. Oh my God, is that a motorcycle? Okay, let's go. We have another book that was in my February TBR, which I did not get around to, and it was also in my December TBR. I made a promise to myself, if a book lands on my TBR 3 times, I have to read it the 3rd time. Like, it is a must, it's compulsory. So that book is Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. This is like a rom-com set in a medieval time, I believe, and it's essentially about this villain who hires this assistant, this very sunshine, happy, optimistic kind of girl, and he's very broody and moody and, you know, villain-esque. And that's basically what happens. He hires her to do some random tasks, you know, just be his assistant, essentially. And I've heard it's very cute, very charming, very funny. It's definitely YA. And I've heard people compare it to an SNL sketch, which I think I said earlier in one of my videos. I don't know if that's my thing, but nonetheless, I'm gonna read it this month because it's been on my TBR 3 times now. So I promise I will read it, hopefully. Time to choose the 7th book. Number 3. This book is definitely gonna make me cry. It is And the Mountains Echoed by Khaled Hosseini. So I previously read The Kite Runner, I think 2 months ago. I gave it a 5-star. It made me sob. And I've also read his other book, A Thousand Splendid Suns. Such a beautiful book. I love his storytelling. Love it so much. Like, the way he pulls you into the story, so good. Definitely very emotional, heavy kind of books, but they just leave you feeling like, it's hard to explain unless you've read one of his books, but if you know, you know. They're just so, like, they're so emotionally draining in some ways. Like, sometimes I want to throw the book at the wall because I'm like, how could you do this? How could you do this to me? But at the same time, like, they leave you feeling hopeful in some ways. It's hard to explain. I just think he has a way with words. He has a way with storytelling. And yeah, I'm so excited to read this book. Hopefully it's also a 5-star book because so far I've only read 2 books by him and they've both been 5 stars. So it's looking pretty good. it's looking pretty good. So yeah, I'm excited to read this book, and I'm happy I got a general fiction just to kind of break up. I don't have a lot of fantasy romance going on, kind of. I've got 3 fantasy romances now. Very excited, but also very nervous because I probably will cry. Probably will. Right, let's spin. Okay, we have another general fiction. This is the one I am most excited for. I don't know why. Every time I see it, it just calls my name. This is Trust by Hernan Diaz. I'd never heard of this book before, but I saw it when I was book shopping, like at an independent bookshop. And when I went up to the counter, the woman working there was like, oh my God, this book is phenomenal. You're gonna love it. I was like, say no more, girl. I was already about to buy it, but then she just sold me on it again. I think I mentioned in one of my earlier videos, one of my goals for this year is to read books that have either won prizes or have been like longlisted for super highly acclaimed prizes, because, you know, like I said, I don't think those prizes lie. Sometimes I might disagree, but they never lie, you know? So this is about a Wall Street tycoon and his young wife. They rise to the top of New York society in an age of excess and speculation. I love any book with like high society New York, high society London. Give it to me. But now a novelist is threatening to reveal the secrets behind their marriage, and this wealthy man's story of greed, love, and betrayal is about to slip from his grasp. This book will take you on a quest for truth while confronting the lies that often live buried in the human heart. Intricate, cunning, and consistently surprising. One of the greatest novels of our time. Doesn't that just sound so interesting? Sounds so juicy to me. Kind of giving Wolf of Wall Street, sort of. Kinda. And I love that movie. So I think I'll enjoy this book, although it's very different vibes to it. I'm very happy I got another general fiction. This and fantasy romance, my favorite genres of all time. So good. Time to spin and pick out the last book for my March TBR. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. We have First Time Caller by B.K. Borson. Now, I know that I said that I'm not huge into contemporary romance, but I'm so excited to read this book because I love a contemporary romance with an interesting premise. From my understanding, the main guy works for like a hotline, like a love hotline, and people call up, tell him about their relationship problems, etc. It's kind of giving Ugly Truth, if you've seen that movie. It's such a funny rom-com, I love it so much. But kind of giving that vibe. And what happens? This is a Sleepless in Seattle inspired love story. That's so cozy. I'm so sorry if you can hear the rubbish truck. It's coming and picking up all the rubbish on my street. So I'm very sorry about that. No, so the girl calls in and she's asking for dating advice for her mom. And then that interview goes viral. And yeah, I don't really know how it happens, how they properly meet, but it just sounds so cute. And I like that they have their interactions like over the phone at first. I don't know, it just sounds like such an interesting premise. And I feel like this is the kind of rom-com that I would definitely highly rate. Like, for example, I loved The 7-Year Slip because that one had a more interesting premise. I'm really excited to read this book. I have a very good feeling about it. And I've also heard that B.K. Borson is like a phenomenal author, so I am excited to give her book a go. Is this my sweat, like on the cover? Can you guys see that? Anyways, these are the books that are on my March TBR. Like I said, I'm not gonna read all of them. I'll read like 6 or 7 of them, depending on how busy I am. But we have a very good, oh my God, it's so heavy. We have a very good selection. Definitely books that I'm really looking forward to reading, and a good sort of mixture of genres. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you're gonna be reading in March. Hopefully you guys also get a very good TBR. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.